See, today is a special occasion, right? So what is the speciality of today? What is it? Guru Purnima, correct. So on the auspicious occasion, so even it is raining. So there is always alternative views, right? One of the view of seeing this event as obstruction, because we wanted to conduct this, but it's raining heavily. So most of the students have missed out, right? So in the offline, but other way of looking at is on the auspicious day. So it has rained, so it is good for farmers, right? So we always have to look at the brighter side, right? So on this note, we will start the session today. So for those who don't know me, so I am Thorun Patel. So I have done my masters in agriculture from I-ARI, so in water science and technology. So I had secured first rank in All India JRF exam, right? So I had done that PG. After that, I had done like diploma in journalism, certificate program in food processing and value addition. After a diploma in rural development and certificate program in environmental engineering. So usually I won't say all these things, but because this is sort of mandated by the market, so I'm just saying all those things. Apart from that, nothing else. So this is my Telegram ID. I hope it is visible. Yes, at KRTP12, right? And also I am the faculty at Insights. So I'll be teaching agriculture optional plus agriculture in this GS paper 3. Right, and also I have provided the Telegram channel, so which we have launched recently for this optional guidance, so you can join there also, right? Okay, you can see in this corner it is blinking 10%. That is the program, that is I-ARI, Insights IS Agriculture Revision and Recall Initiative. So that subscription, so 10% discount would be there till 10th of this month, So next, so the classes will commence from 12th July. So 12th July, and the first session, first class will be free for all. So everybody is open to come and sit in the class and learn the things, right? Okay. So with this, we will start with this orientation session. So what are the things? So what are the things we are going to cover under this session? So this is important. So focus here. First is trends in selection. So recently you might have seen like UPSC has announced its annual report. Have you heard? Right. So recently UPSC has released its annual report. So what I have done is that I have taken the trend from 2017 till now, and what is the success rate? How many people have been clearing from the optional? So that I am going to give you trends in selection. After that, the analysis. Like what does this numbers convey? So what is the thing that market has established here? Right. So that is one. Next one is the misconception. Just by looking at this few numbers, like there are a lot of myths or else misconceptions in this market regarding our optional, saying that it is like, let's say 300 plus is not a reality, or is very less members are getting into the service. All those misconceptions are there. So that I am going to say a few things about that. After that, what are the realities? Is that really that is the scenario? Is that really the optional is not working out, or is there something else which is not happening? If at all it is there, so then what it is? So that I am going to say the realities. Then we are going to have a beautiful discussion, like why less selections are there. See, this is a fact, less selection is there, but why less selections are happening? So we are going to discuss about that. Next one is why we have to choose this agriculture optional as such, right? So that is one. And second thing, like, is it only for like agricultural graduates or else farm sciences? Can like engineering students take this optional? So that also we are going to discuss. Next, let's say for example, once you are convinced yourself that you are going to take this agriculture as the optional, so what are the challenges you are facing? So how can we tackle that? So that also I am going to say. Then for those challenges, how this program I-ARI as such, it is going to give you solutions, right? So in this part, actually I am going to give you this in a way I can say clarification, because most of the people are confused just by looking at the poster that whether this is a test series program or else it is like classroom program, right? So here I am going to give you the taste of like entire thing, right? What exactly I am going to do in the classes, that a part I am going to do in this session, right? So that is one. And last one is like word of caution, that is do's and don'ts for both like people who are writing mains this time and also for people who are aspiring for next year attempt, right? So that I am going to do. And as such, this program is like totally useful for those aspirants who are writing mains this time and also for the candidates who are aspiring for next year attempt. So how that is going to be helpful, we are going to have the discussion, right? So before going further, as you know, Lakshmi Priya, she was like our last batch student and she got 176th rank. And with agriculture optional, this is the highest rank we have, and she has got 268 marks in this optional. And we are going to have a topper session or a topper talk on like strategy, what are the difficulties, how to make notes, etc., etc. All those topics she is going to cover. So that is on 9th July. That is on the Sunday. So it is going to be there. So now the mode, that is either it will be offline or else online, that we are going to update, right? Via poster, we are going to convey that for all of you. Clear? Okay. So now we'll start this session. First thing, as I said, we are going to look into this marks or selection, how many people have been selected in this optional, etc. Right? So first data I have taken from, see, everything is from UPSC annual report itself, right? So this is not the data I have made up, correct? So first one, this is from 2017. So this actually, as the table itself is saying, it is number of people who are appearing for the mains, and from mains to interview, how many people are going. So based on that, we have this % rate of success. Right? In 2017, it was 12.4, correct? Next, this is the 2019 data. So 2019, again it is 2.9. So next, this is 2018 data. This is 2019 data. So it is 10.5%, correct? So this is the recent data which the recent annual report has revealed. It is 2.7%, correct? So based on this, just this data, and also let's say another data is there. So this is from Indian Forest Service. So this is like number of people who have attempted this personality test with agriculture as the optional, and how many of them have been recommended or else selected into the finalist. Are you getting? So this is 27.3%. But again, if you just compare other optionals also here, it is somewhere around same only. But the number of people with this optional when compared to others, apart from forestry, obviously forestry would be there. So apart from agriculture and engineering and this forestry, so this is going to be helpful. Correct? In other words, if you are going to choose this agriculture as the optional, it will be helpful in forest service as well. Clear? So this is the important thing. So just based on this data, there are certain analysis or else interpretations made by this so-called market experts, right? So that we are going to look. So first one, as I said, very little margin of the people are getting into the service, right? So as I said, if you remember, so they are just focusing on this. So like 12 or else 2.3, 2.7. So this is what they are focusing, and they are saying like only less percentage of the people are actually getting into the service, correct? So this is in a way true also, correct? This is in a way true also. So that is one. Second one is like erratic. That is, at times it could be as successful as, let's say, 10.5% or else 12%, and as low as like 2.7% also. That is, erratic figures is there. In other words, sometimes it might be working out, sometimes it is not working out. So this is what another analysis we have in the market. So we'll continue with this session. So as I was saying, so like there is a popular analysis saying that the selection rate, it is very, very erratic. At times it would be very good, at times it will be very bad. So this is one thing, it is there. So third important thing, what we have to observe is like very important one, what we are missing, especially in this market, is that, see, observe for this thing. So this is actually the number of people who are rating mains with agriculture option. Yes. So can I just see the numbers here? So in 2017, it is just 89, correct? That in other words, in like thousands of people who are rating the optional, mains with different optionals, 89 is only from agriculture, correct? And in 2018, it is just 1 or 2. And 124 in 2019, and in 2020 it is just 111. In other words, the number of people who are actually writing mains with agriculture optional itself is very less, underpopulation. Though it is saying as overpopulation, it is underpopulated, right? So if at all the number of people are rating less, in other words, I can say the opportunity to score more in the optional, it itself will be less, correct? That is one of the biggest problem. And you know, like CSAT has been like a very important factor, which is a limiting factor for science background student, especially for agriculture people. So because after like 10th or 12th, so you would have not even looked into like mathematics. Now again, they are going for the fundamentals. In other words, it is very tough, correct? So that is why like number of people who are writing with this optionals into mains itself is less. So where it is leading us, it is leading us into this dilemma or else confusion. Do you want to choose this optional or not? Right? So this itself will be the biggest question, correct? So this is what like the basic analysis of this data actually it is revealing. So now we will have like misconceptions. That is like how this fear or else myths have been developed in this optional. So first popular thing, as you can observe the GIF, what is happening is that, so that lady with, let's say for example, with some other optional, she has got like 98 out of 100, very good score, right? But still she will be sad. But another optional with agriculture option, let's say he was getting somewhere around just 19. But still he was happy. In other words, what I am trying to say is that, see, the marks scored by the candidates in this agriculture optional, it is very, very less. So this is what like usually people are having. And if I want to quantify it, people usually believe that it would be somewhere around like 27, somewhere around 230 to 40 marks, correct? So hardly we are going to see about 250. So this is what the conception which is there. So this is one. So second important thing, like the syllabus itself is vast as the ocean. So we cannot cover the optional within the limited period of time. We need a lot of amount of effort, energy, and then time to cover the syllabus. So this is one. So next one is notes making. So this is like quite popular, or else let's say, I can say universally present problem for any optional. People always believe that they should be having this perfect notes, 100% covered, everything should be there and I should be reading that. But what is the biggest problem is that nobody is going to make that perfect notes. You yourself has to create that notes, correct? So, but there is a laziness, there is a lethargicness in preparation of the notes, correct? So this is like notes availability, or else let's say perfect material is not there, or else to make the material itself is tough. This is again one of the misconception it is there. So now, and this is like quite often I listen to students when they say we are just like agri graduates or else from science background. So usually if you look at the questions, I feel like it is like MSc level or PhD level, correct? So this usually they feel like they should be postgraduate or else doctorate in order to take this optional, right? So this is again one of the misconception which is there. And another fear we usually people have is, so molecular level questions would be asked. Too much of molecular level questions will be there. So it will be tough for us to understand and to write the answers, correct? So this is one. And that is what? Is it visible? No. Okay. So it is 300. Like, is it visible? No, right? For this section people, it is not visible, I guess. Can come towards this. So it is basically like 300, that movie poster I have posted here. So that is like getting 300 marks itself is like never going to happen. So this is also, it is there. So and last one, recently I am hearing to this. People are always saying that, so we are recently passed out. We are COVID batch. So this is what I am getting to listen, right? So they say usually like, sir, we are recently passed out and we've been in this online mode. We have not learned that much enough. So can we take this optional, right? So these are the misconceptions or fears, myths that usually the candidate is having when they are choosing this option, right? Now, let's analyze this reality. Or else in a way, I'm going to say the solutions also for all those dilemmas, correct? Now, first important thing, marks, right? Is it really that much difficult for us to get that 300? See, there have been people who have got even more than 300. For example, rank 106, Sushil Kumar. So he was one of my senior. He got 106th rank and he scored more than 300. It is there. But the thing is that the amount of effort that person has put to get that marks is unequivalent, right? So nobody can match that effort. But if you are not putting the effort and if you want 300 plus, that is never going to happen. Clear? So that is one. And what are the actual things which is limiting from getting good marks? So first one is content. Usually people say that, right? Content in the sense, see, main important thing what you have to realize is that content doesn't mean like, let's say, enter BD Singh should be in your brain, or else let's say enter ready and ready should be in your brain. So that is not the content. Content is basic understanding, fundamental understanding of the core subjects. If at all it is there, that is the content I am speaking of, right? So because the fundamentals will not be clear, so that's why it is one of the limiting factors for getting good marks. So second one is the presentation. This is very important because like, during our UG or else PG, what happens is that usually 10 markers, 15 markers or else like lengthy questions would have been there. So there is a habit of writing in the passages or else paragraphs. So there is no ideology or else let's say practice to write in this points or else bullet forms or else to just satisfy the demand of the question. We always tend to explain more than what is required, correct? So this is another thing, presentation. Third one is the approach. See, approach is very important. Today I am going to take a question itself, like a last year question on this SRI method and DSR, direct seeded rice. So their approach means basically like when you read the question, the entire gist should be coming to your brain. After that, with introduction itself, you have to have the right approach, like capturing the meaning of the question, or else building the context to the question. So that should happen, right? So that usually will be lacking in the answers, correct? That is one. So last very important one is the value addition. See, what happens is that people usually stick to this institution materials or else freely available materials. Let's say Tamil Nadu Angro. So material is freely available. So people will stick to that. See, for the basic understanding, that is good. I totally agree. For basic understanding, or let's say, for example, if I want to quantify to get that 230, 240, that material is good enough. But to get even like 5 marks extra, 10 marks extra, from there actually the effort starts. So there the value addition is very important. Clear? Value addition in the sense that also I'm going to explain in the later session. But the thing is, value addition is like, let's say, adding like the research articles data, or else let's say the recent invention, or else recent cultivar could have been developed, hybrid could have been developed. If you bring that into the context, in other words, current affairs. In other words, let's say for example, we usually say in paper 2 we don't have like scope to do this value addition. That is not entirely true. For example, let's say semi-conservative method of DNA replication. So if at all the question is demanding that. So obviously what can be done? So we can give who has given that method or else that theory. After that we are going to give the diagram. We are going to explain about the theory. This is that. That's it, right? Now what could be the conclusion? So this is what usually people will be thinking, correct? So here what I would suggest is that, let's say for example, semi-conservative method of DNA replication has been given like way back, correct? After that so many breakthrough technologies has come. So now there might be some new pathway which is like present in some amphibian, some plant, something newly discovered, which could be in the newspaper, or else it could be in like important journals. For example, Nature, have you heard? So Nature journal, again they are going to give, if at all that sort of data or else that sort of new thing it is known to you, then you can add that to the answer. So that will definitely going to give you 0.5. Because why? Just think like this. If like I already shown you the data, so maximum like in 2020 only will say 111, that is 111 people has written the mains. In that 111, if I get one copy which is actually given this and 100 copies have given the same content, will I not be giving that 0.5 extra? Are you getting? So this is where you are going to get that 0.5 1 marks extra. And believe me, even 0.5 1 marks is going to determine like ranks hugely. Right? If you have seen the topmost rank, hardly it will be like same marks also would be there. At times like date of birth etc. will matter. Or else let's say for example 1 or 2 marks will be there. So that's why even 0.5 marks is going to be helpful for you. Clear? So that is what value addition here. And very important thing, legibility. See, I had a student last year in our batch. So like name is immaterial. But the thing is like he was very good at like presentation, or else let's say for example structuring the answer. And also content was good. Only problem was it was difficult for even him to read it when I asked him, right? So the legibility was like the issue there, correct? Content was good, presentation was good, he was able to do the value addition, current affairs, everything was there, but the legibility was not there. Even despite that, he got, can you guess how much marks he would have gotten in the actual mains? 265. Are you getting? Just 3 marks less than the actual topper. But still, with the same content, if we had the legibility of the answer, I can believe at least plus 10 to 275, already it is there. Now, even if we do like value addition to the answers, at least 290 he can score. Are you getting? In other words, legibility is the important factor. Legibility, I am not saying like it has to be like printed or a textbook sort of thing. It could be as simple as like whatever you written, it should be like readable. Are you getting? Basically, it should be readable. So if at all it is there, then it is more than enough. Are you getting? So ensuring this, it is going to take care of the marks, correct? But usually this is the biggest mistake people make, correct? See, all this lacunae, it will be coming to you when you actually practice the answer writing. Most of the people, as I know, they will write the first answer in the examination hall itself. So that is the biggest blunder they can make, because they won't know about the strategy. Let's say for example, first and fifth question should be attended first, or else 15 marks should be attended first, 20 marks should be attended first. So this sort of strategy won't be there, first thing. Second thing, it would be hard for them to cover the entire question paper. The answer booklet itself will be would be empty. Are you getting? So that is to say, they are already losing 15 marks without attending it itself. Are you getting? So that's why completion of the paper is important. So writing practice is very, very critical. That is about marks. So next one is about vastness. See, I agree. If at all if you just look at the syllabus which have been mentioned in the UPSC notification, it may appear to be like very vast, very broad, or else very vague in the sense, correct? So, but what could be the solution for this? What could be the solution for vastness? One is the syllabus. See, word to word of the syllabus should be in your brain. Literally, word to word, whichever it is mentioned in the syllabus, it should be there in your brain. Why? So it is very, very important, because let's say for example, if you are reading Kurukshetra magazine, or else a newspaper for that matter. So an article could be there where they could have explained about this MSP, right? So you may think like, okay, in GS3 it is important. Obviously it is important. But in optional, where you are going to put that? Of course, you can say broadly say in agriculture economics. But in that, where actually you are going to put agriculture price policy. right? So that sort of clarity should be there when you are reading the newspaper. Or else, in other words, what I'm trying to say is that if you have this clarity of syllabus in your brain, the time or else effort you are going to put into read some article, it will be very, very less. Because in the beginning only you will be knowing whether this article is relevant for you or not. Are you getting? So that is one. So second one is PYQ analysis. So you would have heard about this term, I agree. Like everybody will say like PYQ should be analyzed, etc. Even in like classes I say for GS and also for prelims, mains, at every stage this is important, correct? I will give you a common example. Let's say all of us have passed this UGs, right? Let's say for example any education background for that matter. Like the actual preparation for the exam would happen only before the examination, the last day or else the last night of the examination. So that is where we are going to prepare for the examination. But still you ended up getting at least good marks. At least you can say to the people, yes, I got 80 plus, correct? How that is happening? Because on that particular night what you are doing, you are very critical about cost to benefit ratio. You are going through the PYQs, whichever has been asked in the previous years, you are having that idea and then you are replicating the same thing in the examination. That worked there itself, right? So this is also going to work, but we are not believing it. We are not believing it. Believe me, if you are really thorough with the PYQs, I can challenge you that you yourself will say that, sir, even if I complete 70% of the syllabus, still I will be getting 290 plus. That is reality, right? But the thing is, PYQ analysis will not be done properly. So today again in the later session, I am going to explain like what exactly the meaning of this PYQ analysis, correct? So that also I am going to explain. Next one is the knowledge level. See, as I said earlier also, like it doesn't require this PG or PhD level. In fact, if you have been through like UPSC notification, they have clearly mentioned like this. This option requires a knowledge level which is little bit higher than UG but lesser than PG. Are you getting? This is the exact word they have mentioned in the notification. In other words, they are not demanding you for going into detailed research. Are you getting? So this is the biggest problem, because what happens is that usually people tend to have this favoritism. Like let's say if I have done my post graduation in this water science and technology, obviously I will be having like favoritism for soil conservation, soil science. So that will be coming naturally for me, right? So when I am going to read about soil science, I will read in detail, in depth. So I will be feeling everything is important. Are you getting? So that burden of knowledge, it will be building on me, correct? So this is one. Second sort of feeling, it would be like, okay, in my UG, like for this, let's say genetics breeding, usually the faculties were not good. We didn't get that basics, etc. This feeling would be there. So these are all like emotions, but essentially that is not needed. So what you need is that for this examination, how much knowledge is needed. If you are going to look into that rationality, believe me, then the syllabus is easy. And as I said, the knowledge level, it is about fundamentals. And believe me, on the examination day, it is always coming to this basics. So those people who have gotten into these services, I can challenge them, or else even they will say by themselves, that is, they will have this basics clear plus good presentation. That is what it is going to work on the on the day of mains. If not, it will be tough. Clear? So that is one. So as I said, it is a level higher than UG but lower than PG. Next one is notes making. So this is very, very like most often I get to listen from the students. They always say like, sir, can we rely on this material? Can we rely on that? Or else do we have to read every like textbook? So what should be like ideal way to make the notes, correct? So first foremost problem or else like mistake student make is laziness. Let's say today you have come to me and I have told you like how the notes should be made. You will go, let's say we will take this breeding. So in that, let's say for example this mass selection. So mass selection, you have started to make the notes, correct? So okay, definition somehow you would have written. After that it comes about procedure. There whatever the short forms you have learnt in your English, that you are going to put there. So entire word will not be written, first thing. Second thing, when you are writing advantages and disadvantages, you feel like this is naturally known to everyone. I should not write this in my answers. Are you getting? So this omission or skipping will start from there. So by the time actually this mains comes, what will happen? When you look at your notes itself, it will be very thin. It will be like very, very less content. You will start to have panic there, right? Because you don't have the content, you start to believe that this is not enough for me to clear the exam. But even though that is enough, that feeling of not enough, that itself will create the dilemma. Are you getting? So that's why while making the notes, laziness should not be there. Clear? So that is one. Second one, usually student demand this spoon feeding. That is, everything has to be done by a person and they have to give it to them. Believe me, even if at all that is done, you are not going to clear the exam. Because let's say for example, today if I print like let's say 1000 pages of like this notes, again like if I have to make the notes, definitely it will be somewhere around 1000 plus pages, correct? So if I give that notes to you, what will happen? Basically, you will have that satisfaction, thinking that yes, material is there with me, I can read anytime. But that anytime will not come until you are going to write the mains. And by the time you are going to take up that book for the mains, it will be in thousands of pages, essentially you won't read at all. Are you getting? Rather than that, what is the best way? It is self-made notes. Even if at all it is somewhere around 200, 300 pages, that is enough. But it has to be made by you. Clear? So that is one. Notes. COVID batch. See, the thing is like, even let's say for example, it was not COVID. So would you have been like read for almost like 6 months, then you would have given the exam? No, right? At that point of time also it would have been one day battle. You just fight for one night and you will go and write the examination. So that is what it is going to happen. Just this is a psychological feeling. Thinking that other competitors might have gained something and you are losing something. Believe me, that is not true. Right? If you are willing to put that extra hard work to get that concepts clear, even if you are a COVID batch student, then believe me, that is good enough. Are you getting? So as I said again and again, I am telling you, it is about the fundamentals. So if you are clear about the fundamentals, that is more than enough. And then you have to make the notes, then write the answers, then that is what it is demanded by the UPSC. Clear? So up to here it is clear, the realities. Yes? Okay. Okay. Now, since we have spoken about so much of the thing, like the data we have seen, like what market is saying, that also we have seen. What is the reality, that also we have understood. Now, can you people say like why there is less selections despite all these things? Low score in GS, very good, correct. Then low score, nothing is cooperating today. Right from nature, everything is backfiring. Okay. Low score in GS, then okay, answer writing, got it. Then notes, okay, correct. Then say something. See, we are used to having this full length, full strength of the classes. So if you are not speaking, there is no fuel for me to progress, correct? So say something. So what could be the reason why there is less selection? Sorry. Okay, interviews, personality test, fine. Then that's it. That's it. Okay, fundamental clarity. Okay, then that's it. See, one of the main reason I can say is the approach, or else the strategy which you have made, especially during the mains time, correct? So what is happening is that, okay, total marks in CSE, that is civil services, combining your optionals plus GS, what is the total marks? Don't know. 1750, correct? So this is the total marks, correct? Now, so here what is happening is that from your optional, how many marks is coming? 500, correct. So GS, rest of the marks, correct? Apart from interview, of course. So in other words, what is happening is that though like 500 marks is there from the optional, the time given for the optional in the context of, if I say in the percentages, 80% would be given for GS and 20% would be given for option. And there is a psychological thing why this is happening. It is quite interesting to understand. See, for example, especially for GS 1, 2, 3 and 4. So if you go to the market, like n number of materials is present, correct? When you are going to actually write this mains, what will happen is that you will get to know that different materials is there and somebody has made short notes of it. Some topper notes is available. All these are the distractions, correct? So because you are having these distractions, you feel like you have to read them. So because you are spending extra time there, you are not giving for the main thing, that is optional. Are you getting? So the time or else the energy should be divided equally. Are you getting? And also if you observe this pattern of the marks, especially for GS 1, 2, 3, there is like stagnant, because let's say for example the lowest considering the average scores, it could be somewhere around 70s and the top could be like 110, 120, rare cases, correct? But if you take essay, 160 is also possible. Even I have seen scores beyond 160, correct? Ethics, same story, even beyond 160 is possible. In optionals, I have seen like say a civil engineering optional has been scored more than 360, Are you getting? In other words, more than 300 itself is possible in optionals. But that sort of like extreme good marks, it is not possible in GS 1 to 3. But if you analyze yourself, how much of the time you are given for GS 1 to 3, it would be more than rest of the things. Are you getting where you are making the mistakes? So this is one of the thing, right? So that is like the strategy or else the approach itself is wrong. You are giving less time for the optional thinking that I know the basics, but essentially you have to practice the answer writing. So this is one. So second one is, as I said, because of this, it is reflected in this marks. Let's say for example, our topper, she has scored 268 in the optional, but still she got that 176 rank. It is difficult to understand, right? Or difficult to digest, because usually we anticipate that 300 plus should be there in order to get into the marks. I mean, get into the PDF, correct? The final selection PDF. But essentially this has not happened with her because she was equally good in GS. If you just observe the scorecard of her, which is available in our Telegram channel also, she has equally managed everything. Correct? In fact, if you want, like I can say like another detail of her. So when she was actually in this training, so she was already in this ACF, Assistant Conservator of Forest of this Odisha. And you know, in ACF actually it is physically intensive training. Correct? Despite being in the training, she was able to manage the preparation. And actually when the mains was nearing, she had a problem. In their home, they had a problem. Even despite all those things, she was able to manage well. Are you getting? So it is always coming to that micromanagement of yourself. Correct? So that is what it is happening. So that is to say, the emphasis on GS and also on the optional should be equally balanced. So don't over focus on one particular thing. Clear? Next one, low score in the GS, correct? So fundamental clarity, as I said, see when the, let's say, integrated farming system has been asked, and it could have been related to, let's say, how it is going to help the small and marginal farmers. But usually what people will do is that they tend to write the answer in the GS form. So they will they would have already forgotten about the IFS. They would have focused on this, how the schemes have been coming and how it is promoting doubling farmers' income, how small and marginal farmers will be benefited, but they will forget about integrated farming system itself. So if at all it is for 20 marks, it would have been equal emphasis. That is 2 pages or else 10 marks for explaining the concept of IFS, and 10 marks or else 2 pages could be given for explaining the small and marginal farmers connection with the IFS. So this is what usually they are going to make the mistakes. So that's why it is reflected in their marks also, correct? So that is one. Next one is notes. See, notes, what happens is that I can say, let's say ideal ways or else let's say idealism. Idealism says like you should have like very good content for every topic in this optional, and by the time like mains is there, then you are going to revise it, make short notes of that if time is permissible, and then write multiple tests and then give the exam. But that is not going to happen in most of the cases. It is about managing whatever the thing we have already with you, correct? So that is what it is ultimately going to. But while making the notes, what is happening? You are running behind the perfection. Because you are running behind the perfection, the time taken to complete the notes itself is more. Second thing is that you would have written like extensively for some topic, and for some other topic there won't be content at all, right? So this would be happening. So like excess of somewhere and scarcity of somewhere. So it should not be happening. It is a balanced notes approach, correct? So first you have to finish it. However, it may feel like, so this is not enough, etc. Don't have that concern in the beginning. Finish it off, correct? So this is one. Personality test. And again, see, the personality aspect, I can speak of few things here. Considering this is mainly for like agriculture background people. See, I'm not like biased or like generalizing the things, but this is in a way true also. Because especially during our graduation, what will happen is that we'll be we would have had like so many agricultural subjects to read, first thing. Then sports would have been there, cultural activities that would have been there. Now what happens is that you have less time to prepare on yourself, correct? That is understanding yourself, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses. Today also, if I just randomly ask like, can you say you have 5 strengths and weakness, I have to take more than 5 or 10 minutes. Are you getting? So that clarity on yourself would be missing, first thing. Second thing is confidence in speaking in groups, correct? That would have been lost. And you would be like trembling to speak to just one person, right? So that also would be there. Considering all these things plus the clarity of thought, which is not there in the brain, so that would be reflected in the PT marks, personality test, correct? So that's why considering all these things, we have very less selections in this optional. But to increase the selection, or else you to be in the service. Now can you say, or else the path is clear, or else that illusion is diminishing, yes or no? Yes. So see, it is always coming to the fundamentals. Are you getting? So it is always about yourself. If you are managing yourself, the optional will work for you. And also that belief should be there, because let's say for example, this time the second ranker, her optional was commerce and accountancy, correct? So commerce and accountancy, and in like as we know, so that's for in like throughout the preparation phases, you would have heard about so many institutions, but never would have heard about commerce and accountancy, correct? But still she had that passion, and it is reflected in the marks. Are you getting? That passion for the like subject should be there, not for the marks. If you have that true passion, that will be reflected in the marks, correct? So this is why we have less selections in this option. Next one is why to choose this agriculture optional. Why to choose this agriculture optional? First thing is familiarity of the subject. Considering like most of the people who are going to choose this optional is from agriculture background. So that is to say familiarity with the subject, because you would have read this particular subject for 4 years. And believe me, if at all reading of the subject or else anything for 4 years and it is not giving you confidence, can you be sure like you will be completing any optional in like 6 months just by coaching or else just by reading materials? Then you are bluffing for yourself. Clear? I'm not saying it is impossible. I'm just saying that for most of the people it would be tough. Are you getting? Right? So this is one. Familiarity with the subject. So second one is it is a technical subject. As I said, especially let's say for example, hybrid production of this bajra. The procedure has been asked. If you write the procedure, I won't have the scope to deduct the marks there. It is sort of mathematical equation, yes or no? If at all it is correct, it is correct. Right? So in those scenario, the evaluator will have the less scope to deduct the marks. So that is the advantage of technical subject. In other words, if you give the technical knowledge, or else if you present this fundamental aspects very correctly, then there are high chances that you are going to score very good marks, correct? So next one I can say less time is required to complete the syllabus, right? Because first thing you would have been already acquainted with the subject, correct? You would have been already acquainted with the subject. Second thing, important thing is that in the examination, so there won't be this unknown questions for you. So something or the other thing would be known for you. Of course, let's say for example, if at all it is asked for the 20 marks, you may have the content only for the 10 marks. That I agree. But literally like unknown would not be there in the examination, right? But if you take other options, definitely there are scope that let's say current affairs based or some theory or philosopher based question, if at all it is appearing, then it would be tough, correct? So that is less time is required to complete the syllabus. Next one is unknown question. As I said, it is very less. Next one is practical knowledge. Especially when you are in degree, like the program called as RAVE, most of you would have been there, correct? So that is Rural Agriculture Work Experience Program. So there, like when you were in the field, you would have observed certain things from the farmers, correct? And you would have also seen like certain indigenous technology know-how, correct? IT case we say, and it is also part of which syllabus? IT case enough extension, correct? And also that can be used in, let's say for example, IPM. Definitely we can use that technology, correct? IDM, disease management, there also we can use, correct? So whatever the things you have learned in the field through this RAVE, definitely that is going to come in handy. Are you getting? So that is the practical knowledge. Next one is the diagrams. See, here certain subject actually demands you to write the diagrams. For example, let's say genetics, breeding, and then let's say physiology, right? So the year naturally it will be coming. Let's say for example, if you are writing this answer of extinction, economics, objectives is there you can make the flow charts, correct? So what is the advantage of diagrams is that you can convey more in diagrams than in words, because as like the quote is there, right? So the image can speak so many things, thousands of things, correct? So that is one of the advantages in diagrams. Next one is overlapping topics with GS3. And if you have observed this GS3 topic, especially from this agriculture topic like MSP, agriculture price policy, PDS, and then this cropping pattern, major cropping pattern. So all those topics are there. So it is totally overlapping with this. And if you have observed the pattern, the PYQ analysis of the GS also, in GS3 at least how many questions are coming from this agriculture part? 4, right? At least 4 questions are coming. In other words, at least 50 marks. So 50 marks is always coming from this agriculture portion. So that is also going to be advantageous for you. Clear? So this is why you had to choose this agriculture optional, or else could be choosing this agriculture option. Now, is it only for like farm science background people, or else it could be taken by anyone? See, there are 2 scenarios. One is farm science background. Let's forget that. Second one is like science background, like BSc, honors, like CBZ, etc. So those people definitely have like let's say favoritism for botany or else biology. They can definitely choose this optional. Second thing is that See, I've seen like engineers clearing this exam with agriculture option. So we had a student, his name is Shiv Kumar Gangal. He got 26 or 27th rank in this Indian Forest Service. He was a civil engineer, right? And civil or mechanical, totally he was like engineer, right? So he had this agriculture and geology as optional for this Forest Service, right? So and he managed to complete that syllabus in very less time, correct? And he got that rank. So despite being an engineer also, there are people who are in the service, correct? And also we are trying to plan like one session like topper talk from this Shiv Kumar, so that like people from different background can also understand like it is possible in this option. Clear? So that is one. So third important thing, see the advantage for this non-form science background people is that they are, I can say, rational in their approach, because they already know that they don't want to have specialization here. Correct? They will be looking at the syllabus from cost to benefit ratio. They will be sticking to the PYQs. But here with agri graduates, what will happen? The emotions, the favoritism. This subject is favorite for me, so I have to write more on this. That burden of knowledge would be there. But for non-form background people, what would be there? That is rationality. That is cost to benefit ratio. They will just look into how much marks it is coming from this topic. Will I be getting this marks or not? So that rationality, it is definitely going to help like non-form science background people. Clear? Now, major mistakes in this preparation. This again you have to understand, because like see, the intention is that though you are joining this program, or else even if you are not joining this program, it should be helpful for you. Correct? So that's why I am emphasizing on this, and don't make the same mistakes in your preparation also. Correct? The first main mistakes people are going to do is laziness. So this is like universal problem, not just with the optional. In the preparation itself, this is the biggest problem. The procrastination, you would have heard the term, correct? What is the meaning of procrastination? Postponing. The symptom of a pandemic of procrastination, we say, because it is spread throughout the globe, right? So we'll think that, okay, this should be done, but I will do it tomorrow. So that sort of like satisfaction you are giving for yourself, but that tomorrow is never going to come, correct? So that is the biggest laziness we have here, right? This is one of the problem, laziness. So second one is patience, because most often what will happen is that we want to complete everything in a go, correct? And another important thing is that, let's say for example, if your peer group or his friend, he has taken some other optional, and like already available material would be there, you would have completed the syllabus in one go, or has completed one round revision, you would have writing the test, and you believe that I am still making the notes. So there you should have the patience, thinking that yes, this is the time for me to make the notes. When I am done with the notes, of course I will be good enough to write the test. Are you getting? If at all that patience is not there, then this preparation itself is going to be tough. Clear? The patience part. Next one, as I said, emotions. Because like especially this candidates with this agriculture optional, they will have this mixed emotions, especially on different subjects. So they tend to read something more and they tend to neglect something. So that should not happen. Clear? Emotions. Next one is unrealistic targets. Let's say for example, how the ideology or as like approach should be there when you are like preparing for yourself or as preparing for any exam is that keep targets like which can be achievable. Let's say for example, if you are making notes of this agronomy only, and in agronomy, let's say for example, you have done this PYQ analysis somewhere around like 100 themes you would have identified from where questions are coming. Now the idealism says that okay, within like 3-4 days I am going to complete. Though it is not going to happen because you are not robo, because you are a human being, right? So there are so many things you have to do in a day. Considering that, so what is the realistic target per day? Maximum of 5 or 7 themes, correct? Practically achievable. Once you have achieved that, then whatever the rest of the time is there, you can utilize for your rejuvenation. You can go, you can have a walk, you can like do some exercise, or else like play some sport. So that is also equally important. But what you are doing is that you are overburdening, and some people I have seen like they will tend to achieve it also. Let's say if they have kept the target like 20-25 themes per day, they would achieve. But at the long term, what will happen? It will take a toll on the body, right? It will take a toll on the body. Your health will be deteriorated. So that should not happen. You have to manage everything, correct? So that's why this is a marathon, not like sprint. 100 meters you run and you will win. That is not going to happen here. It is a marathon. So have that patience and have realistic targets. Clear? So don't be this unrealistic. Next one is test. Like writing more and more of this mock test, that is equally very important. But as I said, most of the people will be writing their first test or else first answer in the examination hall itself. So that is the, like I can say, the blunder they can make. So that should not happen. You have to write more and more number of mock tests, correct? Now here, of course, you may say that, so there is no proper like test series in the market. I agree. But the thing is like, we are trying to come up with one, right? So definitely, right? So test series. So and last one is that we have to divide and conquer, correct? We have to divide like entire syllabus into parts, and within that parts, we have to identify the sub themes and try to conquer that on daily basis. Are you getting? So divide and conquer, though you read in modern history, like what is that, used by this Britishers. So at that context, it might be bad, but in your preparation context, that definitely that divide and strategy, divide and rule, it is going to work. Clear? So divide entire bigger parts into small achievable targets and achieve it on the daily basis. So that itself will give you the self-confidence, and that self-confidence is what is essentially needed in this preparation. Clear? Yes? Yes or no? Right. So these are the major mistakes I have seen like people making in their preparation, correct?